So 7 benefits is a lot for us to tackle, Chris. So let's jump right in. What's benefit number 1?
Benefit number 1 we're going to suggest, and these are not in any kind of a numeric order, but we're just going to hit each one. One of the benefits is clarity. Clarity of both vision and of direction. You want to know where it is that you're going to, and you want to know a path to get there, and oftentimes those things are not laid out for us ahead of time in any way, shape, or form. The group is not going to hand it to you, but in the process of being part of a group, you will increasingly gain greater clarity about your own vision, your own sense of calling from the Lord, and the path that would most likely take you there. I find in the groups that I have facilitated, typically they are all of coaches, Christian coaches who are establishing practices, and every single one of those practices is unique. Every set of niche clientele that they're targeting is unique, and so each one has a slightly different vision. Even the ways that they want to contract with clients and for how long, and face-to-face or distance, or via, intensive weekends or retreat kind of settings or one-on-one across the globe, whatever their model is, they're coming together as a fairly homogenous group of persons wanting to do similar things and then fleshing out their individual visions and their individual direction. And again, I found the same thing in my own mastermind group that I'm a participant in. It's facilitated by Dan Miller. Many of you know him. We've had him interviewed here on the show before, and a close friend of mine. In Dan's group, we had a party recently, Kim, that was called a Come As You Will Be party. And it was all about the vision casting work that we were doing as we try to discern how God's calling us. And he had us step 5 years down the road and come to one of our face-to-face gatherings representing through a video that we might make or some kind of a paper that we might share, or some people actually dressed up in a kind of a character form if they were out on the mission field or if they were launching some new endeavor or whatever. We were sharing with each other, stepping in more fully to what we believe God's called us to do and to be. So Mastermind Group's great catalyst for clarifying your vision and your direction. There's point number 1.
And it was powerful. I love that idea of coming as you will be. Good stuff. All right, number 2, you will make better decisions. Like you said, I've led many mastermind groups, and it's just such a trust of wisdom there. People are sharing resources and tools and tips and best practices and insider information. I know when I first began my coaching business, one of my kind of brilliant ideas to myself was, I'm going to run ads. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run ads in the local paper or at the gym or in my son's yearbook at high school or that type of thing. And an older, wiser coach said to me, I've never met a coach who's gotten a single client from an ad. That's just generally not how we do business. And I think how much money, how much time, how much lost energy would I have felt if I had tried my idea and not heard from someone who'd walked the road before me and learned from them. And so that's the kind of synergy and wisdom that can take place when you're in a group of like-minded people.
Kim, I love that story because I will painfully admit to you that I can put a dollar value to how much money can be wasted, because yours truly wasted $4,000 and a whole lot of time and development on a beautiful full-color ad at what I thought was the perfect venue for one of the niche groups that I was targeting. And I not only got no clients, I didn't even get any inquiries from it. I definitely learned that lesson the wrong way. And it is costly, really costly. In fact, when you're early in the development stage of launching a coaching practice, or any business for that matter, you can't afford those kinds of mistakes very often. You make a few of those, you're out before you've even started. Yeah. So, one of the concerns that people raise sometimes about a mastermind group is, well, okay, this is going to be a commitment of my time, but I'll bet you it's going to be a commitment of my money too, isn't it? And well, yeah, any decent mastermind group I've ever belonged to or facilitated myself has an investment of money. But I tell you what, I'd rather invest it proactively on the front end and draw from some of that ability to make better decisions than to learn it through the school of hard knocks on the back end reactively and try to dust myself off and guess again what might work or might not work.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to have clarity of vision in the future. We're going to make better decisions. What's number 3?
Number 3, we've got here inspiring creativity. And boy, I experienced this one big time. In fact, this one can be a little bit hard to wrap your brain around at first because creativity is a very nebulous thing. We know there are times where it's, as the Greeks might say, where the muses have just shown up and they seem to be stirring up all of our creative energies. And there are other times where you just feel so uninspired, so uncreative. You're staring at the blank canvas, as it were, like a painter, and saying, I don't even know what I want to paint, and I wouldn't know how to begin it if I could. There are many things that we find can help us to trigger creativity. Certainly prayer, meditation, preparation. For me, oftentimes getting out into nature helps stir up my creativity. Very definitely engaging in music. I play piano and I love to just sit down and I'll play for half an hour. There's always music for whatever mood I'm in, and it stirs my creative juices, and then suddenly I am actually creative again. There are things like that. Well, being part of a mastermind group, I find, oftentimes has that effect on me. I can't quantify what I took away from a particular exchange. I can't say that takeaway, that pointer there, that analysis that we did, that was my gain from today. But instead, it was more the experience of being in a greenhouse of a whole bunch of other people who are like-minded, like-spirited, and as they're sharing and creating, their creativity opens up my creativity, and we're just kind of singing to each other then. They're calling forth my song because I'm hearing them sing their song, I guess, to put in another metaphor there. So definitely I find inspiring creativity has been a huge takeaway for me from mastermind groups.
It's that iron sharpens iron principle. It really does kind of spark new and fresh ideas and things. Yep. Totally agree. Yeah. All right. Point number 4 is community and collaboration. And maybe I could put another C word in here, connections. And I'll tell you a short story about this, Chris. And this is a story you don't know. So here you go. Vulnerable right. And behind the scenes as we go. Now, this isn't necessarily a mastermind group, but it's a very similar principle. When I first began my coaching practice, I hired our friend, Judy Santos, who is not necessarily a friend or acquaintance of mine, but just this big, famous coach to me. And
the original founder of the Christian Coaches Network, for those who aren't familiar with that name, and a dear friend and colleague of mine. She helped me start this institute, Professional Christian Coaching Institute, and I served on her board at Christian Coaches Network. She went to be with the Lord in 2010, so she's no longer with us here. But okay, so you brought her in, and...
she's way up on the pedestal, so I took more money than I had to invest to coach with her simply for the coaching. I wanted to receive from a coach what we all receive from coaches. I didn't think about the connection and the collaboration piece. It was just this side effect, which often these kinds of things are. Well, through the relationship and the fact that she was head of Christian Coaches Network, they had a need one time, and I very timidly volunteered to lead a group and meet the need. So I led that group. Well, that resulted, this is a fun chain of events, into me getting an offer to speak at one of their virtual conferences. So now I'm a speaker at one of these virtual conferences, and I haven't earned it. I haven't really found my way there other than through my connection with Judy. And lo and behold, who was in that conference but Chris McCluskey?
Oh, no. Okay. Here we
heard me speak. Now, you had been my instructor back in my early coaching classes, but we had no real personal connection.
No.
And then after the speaking, the speech I gave, they kind of broke us up into dyads and little virtual conference rooms, and you were the first person the computer randomly put me into a conference room with. We had a discussion about what kinds of things that were similar I might be able to bring to some of the things you were doing, and it started this snowball effect. And I'm probably going to cry when I say this, but I mean, here I am today, a part of your vision for Professional Christian Coaching Institute, a part of this podcast, and God's sovereign over all. But through it all, if I hadn't been connected with someone, that Judy Santos, I don't think, humanly speaking, any of this would have ever happened for me. And so I'm just a huge believer in the power of community, connection, and collaboration.
Oh, Kim, you're right. I didn't know that story, and I'm touched. My mind is racing back, and I remember the exercise. I don't remember who I would have connected with, because we did a round robin thing, right? Every couple of minutes, it would switch you through to a different person.
Yes.
But isn't that something? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good illustration of that fourth point there. Okay, community and collaboration. Okay, so let's go on here to the fifth point, which is that you will, as a result of being in a mastermind group or facilitating a mastermind group, you will be able to move with greater confidence. Kim and I just recently interviewed Michael Hyatt here on the podcast. Probably many of our listeners heard that episode. You remember we talked briefly about mastermind groups in that, and he made this statement that I think just really kind of captures this piece of increasing your confidence as a fruit of being in a mastermind. He said, the thing about a mastermind group that's really supportive is you're your very best version of yourself. Because when you feel confident, you act in a different way than when you feel defeated or hesitant or you're doubting yourself. You know, one of the things that leaders have to manage is our confidence. Because you perform differently when you're confident. You have to manage that. I love that. What an insight. And he's really underscoring that's one of the benefits that he gains from being in a mastermind. I would certainly echo, yes, I gain that. Kim, I know you gain that from being in mastermind groups. Just that internal sense of confidence, not in self, in the Lord whom he calls, he equips. If he has said, this is where I want you to go, this is what I want you to do, then he's going to meet us there, and it falls to us then to muster up the courage, the confidence, the perseverance to follow through. A mastermind group is a great group of persons coming along, kind of holding your arms up in the battle, right, to help you maintain that kind of confidence.
Confidence doesn't come in a vacuum. So many people think, I'll wait until I feel ready. I feel confident before I step out and do this or do that. And the confidence will never come meet you in your easy chair. I can pretty much guarantee that. And so where are you going to find that confidence and grow in that confidence? And when you have people, you know, they're looking out for your back, they're looking out for the pitfalls, they're supportive, they believe in you, they believe in your calling, even when you lose faith. Confidence comes and you bring, like Hyatt was saying, that better self into whatever it is you go out and do next.
Mm-hmm.
All right, lots of benefits, and we have two more. So the sixth benefit is being in a mastermind group is you will take meaningful action. So 2 key words here. One is action. I mean, the whole purpose of being in a mastermind group, of being in coaching, is because we want to do different things so that we'll get different results. And at the end of the day, it's nice to have community, it's nice to have collaboration, it's nice to have inspiration and to be creative. But truly, if we don't do anything different as a result, I'm not really sure what it gets us. And mastermind groups do lead to people taking actions. Now, here's the beautiful part. Because you have that brain trust around you, it's not busyness for busyness' sake. It's not taking action just because you want to feel movement and it feels good. It's chosen, thought through, prayed about, brainstormed as a group, meaningful action. And when we take different actions, we get different results.
Amen to that. And that is, well, as we've pointed out in previous episodes of this podcast as well, it's the ultimate takeaway that we all look for from coaching. When you are coaching, ideally at the end, no matter what your aha, you want some kind of meaningful action to follow that new insight. And the mastermind groups then we find also not just help you make the ahas, gain the greater self-awareness or the confidence or motivation or whatever, but then to help you put feet to it and actually follow through on that plan that you're discerning and committing to. Mm-hmm. Well, so that brings us to point number 7 here. And as Kim said at the beginning, there's more than 7 points. We're just following the tried and trusted rule of 7-point sermons, right?
There you go.
All right. So of all of these, in the end, you're going to ultimately build not just a better business, a coaching business here, but we would argue very strongly in a well-facilitated mastermind group, you're going to build a better life. And by that, we mean that you're going to be more intentional about what you're doing. Again, just like happens in coaching one-on-one. Back when I was a psychotherapist, I found that there were things that I could facilitate in a group doing group therapy with my clientele, that I could not facilitate one-on-one. Because the dynamics are different when you're in a group. And I might have said the exact same thing that a couple of my group members said that one of my other members needed to hear that week. But because it wasn't me saying it, it was instead one of their colleagues. And maybe just a few moments ago, they had been speaking into that colleague's life. But now that colleague is turning around and being used in their life. And you're more aware, wow, yeah, none of us has it all together. We're all broken vessels. We are all works in process, but such as we have, we bring and humbly lay down our little loaves and fishes of experience and insight and connections and resources and such. In a mastermind group, we share that. Oh my goodness, look at the feast. Look at the thousands that can be fed, if I can play off of that metaphor, as a result of that. There are things that can happen in a mastermind group that I don't believe can happen in one-on-one coaching. And that doesn't knock one-on-one coaching. It just says there really are different experiences, different dynamics when you're in a group.
And when you're in the right group, it's so holistic. Here at home, in my home office, just gathering information, I can get tunnel vision, be about building the business, growing the business, meeting new people, meeting the bills, blah, 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 blah. And I can neglect the greater, more important things in my life so easily, God and my family and my friends and these other values, because I'm so focused on meeting this business goal. And if I'm in a proper mastermind group, in a holistic way, people are going to help catch me, not just on my business decisions, but Kim, what about your value for your family and your grandchildren? Your marriage, how is that going? How's your relationship with the Lord? So I want to be in a mastermind group around Christian, like-minded people who will help me in all areas of my life. Because if I succeed at business and lose at everything else, that's not my definition of success.
Not at all. I was just reflecting back on some of the recent topics that we've had on our, the mastermind group that I'm in now with Dan Miller is one where we meet via Zoom, which is, of course, a video conferencing capability. And on our meetings, we typically have some kind of a theme that we're focusing on. Sometimes it's member-driven, sometimes it's some book that we're all reading through at the same time or a topic that Dan has suggested or something. But some of our recent topics have been knowing when to quit, how to say no, affirming the value of family and time with family. I mean, these are the things that we're talking about. Now, wait a minute, isn't this supposed to be about business development? Yes, it is. And as we're just saying here in point number 7, not just better business, but better life. The business you're building better facilitate the life that you feel God's called you to. Otherwise, you're trying to cram your life into this business that's running everything. Instead, it's to be the other way around. Catch your vision for your life. Plug the business into that. Build it within that. Make them work together. The group really helps with that when it's a holistic approach in a mastermind to exploring the whole of our being in what we're doing, not just business development, task accomplishment, goal setting. No, there's so much more.
But we have actually a very exciting third option for our listeners here today. And so I'm going to give you the joy of telling them what that third option is, Chris.
Well, all right. We do indeed. And you may have sensed that already. Kim and I together are going to launch a mastermind group. This is the first time that she and I have done this in joining our private practices together. We've certainly had fun collaborating on other things in the past and now this podcast, but we enjoy each other so much. We are so like-minded and yet very different personalities and styles and approaches to things. And so we've decided, by golly, we're going to roll out a mastermind group. It will be limited to no more than 20 participants. And so if that interests you, just know that we have actually already opened up just this week application to that group. And this is a group that persons will have to apply for. So quick little commercial here on that. If you are interested, you will need to jump out to our website, and we're only going to be open for applications for a couple of weeks here. We close application entirely on April 18th. If we have already reached the 20 persons that seem a good fit before that, of course, it's a first come, first serve kind of a thing. We cap the group at 20, and that's just, there has to be a boundary somewhere. there. This group is one that will meet via Zoom bridge, those live video conferencing bridges, on an every other week basis. We're going to meet the first and third Thursdays of every month, and it's over the noon hour if you're in Eastern Time, 12 to 1:30 Eastern Time on first and third Thursdays. But we're also combining it with a face-to-face component. And so actually, after we hit, it's a year-long commitment, minimum of a year-long commitment to the group, meeting on the first and third Thursdays and by Zoom. And then in May of next year, 2017, we're going to have a huge gathering of the Mastermind group out here on our farm in the foothills of the Ozark Mountains. Kim's grinning here on the screen. We're both very much looking forward to that part. We're going to spend a Thursday, Friday, Saturday time together as that Mastermind. The primary makeup of this group is coaches only. And by that, we don't mean that you have to be established yet, but you are at least establishing a serious coaching practice full time. You do intend for this to be the work you sense the Lord has called you into this, that you will be doing for the next many years, perhaps the rest of your life. So establishing serious full-time coaches who are looking to expand their impact and to diversify their income streams, the offerings that they have within their practice. By and large, this is persons who are probably looking to make a six-figure and maybe even middle to high six-figure income from their practice. But it's not about the income generation so much as what we're calling the Mastermind group is high impact Mastermind. Not high capacity, not high income, high impact. Whatever fields you feel like the Lord has called you to, if that resonates with you, our acronym for that is HIM, H-I-M, the High Impact Mastermind. And you can find information about it out on our website at professionalchristiancoachingtoday.com. If you'll just enter /HIM, H-I-M, you'll pull to that. Or if you just go to the website itself, professionalchristiancoachingtoday.com, you'll see an icon there. You can click on that and complete that application, and you'll want to do so quickly. Again, if you want to plug into that before April 18th, for sure.